Some say that this year is the most beautiful 911 there is. And we have it here today on Autogefuehl, the new Porsche 911 Targa. Today as the Targa 4S. We also have an older model for you, just as a showcase. Of course, we'll concentrate here on the all-new model in this new generation, in exterior, interior, and the driving experience. Of course, here, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. Join us here, as usual, in Full HD, full screen, and full length. Let's go! The new 911 generation in general for all the models is 4.5 centimeters or about 2 inches wider, so even wider stance on the road. Yeah, it's not a small sports car anymore, more a Grand GT definitely. So the original 911 more resonates now meanwhile to the 718 model. Here you can see here this is the Targa 4S. You can see the wide air intakes, also horizontal stress. Then LED is standard, and an option, you can see them here, the matrix LED light, also for more elaborated high beam function. You have these retro elements here, how the hood is curved out in the new 911 generation, and the Targa, of course, from the front doesn't look so much different. It's more, of course, in the side profile and with this glass top. And what's also interesting is this color with the different light nuances here. It's called gentian blue, or would be Enzian in Germany. Not exactly a bright Thomas blue color, but it really depends. You can see here when the sun is really hard on it, then it gets brighter. A sapphire blue would be more the Thomas blue here on Autogefuehl, but definitely also a beautiful one. 4.52 meters, 14'8" or 178 inches is the length now of the 911 generation, and from which side I will enter the stage? Yes, today. From the front. Here, of course, the Targa with the signature bar right here, silver contrast. I think that really works well to the blue exterior color. And then these typical 911 very strong shoulders. The base Targa version, the Targa 4, always, by the way, comes with all-wheel drive, comes with 19-inch wheels in the front and 20-inch in the rear. This here is the Targa 4S, so the S model then, 20-inch in the front standard and 21-inch in the rear. And then, of course, it's all about the roof opening process. You can see here this, the glass area, very beautiful, and this makes this car really so unique. And I can also open it with the key. There's a separate button here on the key. So here we go, and always looks very spectacular. This soft top then goes back. Parts of the bar move up, move down again, and there it goes back with the glass top. So this is actually 19 seconds, whereas the normal convertible would be 12 seconds. So of course the convertible is more, the more practical solution, has also a little bit less wind noises. But the extra price, if you compare it to the coupe, both for convertible and for the Targa, at least in Germany, 14,000 euros extra. So it's not a question of price, more of styling and of course of concept. And of course, if you're even cooler, then you put down the windows, and that gives once more a different look, especially from the side again. In the rear, the new 911 generation also has some retro styling elements here, very interesting. And this light strip here, it goes all the way over the vehicle. So from the rear, I think actually, this is actually really cool in this new generation. I like that. The Targa, of course, also in the rear perspective with this huge glass top, also again very impressive, and it looks the same no matter if it's open or closed then in the middle. In the lower part you have the outside exhaust tips, so yeah, hard case for the Autogefuehl fake exhaust police, because when you look on the inside, there is, something on the inside then with 2 gaps, and then behind this then is the real exhaust. So yeah, the air goes through there, but still I think a case of fake exhaust, definitely. What do you think about design, the new Targa? Is it the most beautiful 911? Tell us in the comments. And technology-wise, by the way, you have a rear axle steering optional. This is also built in this very vehicle, and then there's also the anti-tilt control PDCC. You can get both, and then you have the most dynamic driving setup. And again, the Targa so far only available with all-wheel drive, of course, as we know from Porsche, with rear-wheel bias. And maybe you've noticed this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 9. So either 992 for this model generation for the internal code, or also 911, like 911. So no matter how you read it, it really fits. And at higher speeds, the spoiler goes automatically up, or of course you can also do that statically, like here, when you want to show off to your friends. For the normal 911, there's this service opening which only folds up this part here, this very small part. But here the service opening looks a little bit different than for the Targa. So here we go, the whole glass top lifts up, and then you can see the only thing you can actually see from the engine, if you don't put it to the workshop, here the 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged, either with 385 horsepower, this flat engine in the base Targa, or here the S model 450 horsepower, and the acceleration figures are 3.8 seconds or 3.6 seconds for the faster model. That's 0.1 seconds slower if you compare it to the coupe model. The key fob, slim and light, 911 form, and you can open the frunk from the inside of the vehicle, or here with pressing on the key fob. 135 liters is the official figure, and of course a 911 is not safe from the measuring stick. Here about 60 centimeters in the rear height, then here 45 in the front, and in the lower part here is almost 70 centimeters in width, and that means you can put a cabin trolley, you can lie it down, but also question is, when you put it up like this to be able to store something else in there, will it close? Yes, that works. People buy the Targa to feel safer, or because they think it's better as for the wind turbulences, but usually the pure convertible is better as for the wind flow. But Porsche wants to improve this now with a new, let's say, interior spoiler or a new wind deflector. You can see it right here. So this is directing the wind flow a little bit higher over the cabin, and it's a manual control, so for even higher speeds you can press it down like this. Here we go, and then the wind flow goes even a little bit higher than at higher speeds. And I'm really looking forward to test that while driving, if this is really a crucial change. Then it looks just minor, but will it have a big effect? We'll find out soon. And we also have a different color for you today. This is called Aventurine Green, so you hardly see that it's green, just to give you a different impression here from the front, or also then from the rear view. And a short look into the past for you. The Targa history began in 1965, when American safety regulations actually forbid to sell normal convertibles for over-rolling safety, and then these bars were introduced and the Targa was born. So 1965 was the very first Targa model. This one here is a model from 1993, a very precious one, has just been here in the Porsche work state, and about 3,000 kilometers on the clock, so very, very precious one. 250 horsepower at this stage. Big difference today, of course, to a Targa 4S with 450 horsepower. And a short look inside, and also listen to how the door plops open. Yeah, that's classic sound. So, looking at the inside, and I want you to look at this interior and then later on compare of how many elements they have carried on to the modern models. Always interesting to see where they come from. What do you think about this one here? always a discussion here with the door handles. When you open the vehicle here with the key or close it again, you can see they come towards you. It's also better for the wind efficiency, but the feeling they give you, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but they look cool at least. Then inside of the door here, slim Porsche design. That means also very, very slim door pockets here. Hardly can put anything in there. Memory seating. 1, 2, 3. Will you allow 2 more drivers in your Porsche? Not so sure about that. Then here, 911 Targa 4S entry badge. And we have a grey interior today. You can see here also front of the steering wheel and so on. Small and very precise shifting pedals, that's cool. Soon more to the instruments, because you have digital left and right and analog in the middle part. Right side middle 10.9-inch screen, at the moment shut off, but soon more to the screens and so on. The seating here, sport seats as standard. And look out for the Sportex seats. So there are also some retro styling fabric seats available. I would pick these. Here the animal skin seats. Not so many alternatives as we know, for example, from the new Taycan, or also the 718 models offer more alternatives than here the 911 models. So let's get inside. Here we go. Typical low seating 911 position. And indeed, it doesn't feel like a small agile sports car, more again like a Grand GT. You really feel how big the 911 has become. And here at the moment with the top open, but I can soon also close it. First of all, the seating position. I mean, the 911 was never a comfort king, so to say. If you want more comfort than Porsche, that's why so many people are buying the Porsche SUVs. Meanwhile, Porsche SUVs sell way more than the sports cars do, exactly for that reason. But of course, we'll keep you also updated for that with the driving review. At least you can adjust them here in an electric way, up and down, of course, front, back. Then here, lumbar support, and also the front bolstering here to put it longer than the side bolstering in the lower part. And here you can adjust it very well, but of course it won't change the basic driving position. So steering wheel, also electric control, up and down and in and out. And you can also get one with the steering wheel heating. So that's one of the options that this car here also has. But in some Porsche models, it's hidden here behind the steering wheel. In this case also, just a little bit more hidden here in the 911. So here actually, so there it is. So it's really just behind it. A little bit easier to activate it in the Panamera, for example. Yeah, but I mean, if you know it, it's actually a good thing where you don't see any additional button. Yeah, why not? Interior overview, again with this horizontal stress, and there you definitely can see some, resemblance also from this traditional 911 layout. So that's, I think, pretty cool that they take some, citations. And then soon also more details here to this instrument setup. The problem is when I sit here, from here you can see there, behind the steering. But from my view, this here and this is blocked by the steering wheel. That's also some kind of a design flaw. But I think it's really cool that they kept the analog RPM meter right there. The steering wheel again, nice, small, good grip, shifting pedals. On the right side here, you can control the right screen right there. And you can also switch it, that you can control the left instrument screen also. You can pick up the phone. Drive mode selector, practical on the steering wheel. They can switch between the different driving modes. There's also a new wet driving mode for slippery conditions, but with the all-wheel drive here, also not such a problem. And on the left side here, you can turn up or down the volume. You can have a favorite key that you can, put something on it. And there's also a voice input. But this is not like a supernatural voice input as we know from very modern system. And this is a button here for the voice input, and that works actually quite decently. Drive me to Berlin.
Please wait. A line number, please.
So that works well already. Well, I cancel it for a moment. And another one. Increase temperature. Look down here. There it is. So we went from 22 to 24 degrees. Of course, way too hot than here, but just for testing purposes. Then further, here another hotkey. You can program a favorite button right here. So whatever you want to have on this key. Then to activate the exhaust note once more, also separate key and nice metal knurling here. ESC off, yeah, maybe on the racetrack. And PDCC, so there's always discussion about why is there a separate button for that. And the reason is PDCC, the anti-roll control, if you have this option, is always on. But when you use this one or automatically in a certain driving mode, here in the Sport Plus, then it is more on. It's just a little bit more active. So then also cool that we still have manual climate knobs. This nice clicking sound. And then this brown shaver design here for the shifting lever and, you know, zzz in the morning when you forgot to shave. It's slim and I mean, meanwhile I got used to it, I have to say. Parking mode. Then to open and close Targa top. Here the seat heating cup holder right there, also adaptive. And you can also remove it if you like and replace it with something else. And then the armrest, you can put it up like this, some space, and two USB-A chargers. Now it leads to the infotainment screen. And I mean, my microphone is really now catching my voice only, but you can maybe hear that I have turned on the engine because when you use this screen here, it drains so much energy from the battery that after a while, or very shortly, it shuts down and then you have to turn on the engine. That's definitely a flaw of this car. So here's the GPS map. This works very well. The screen, by the way, when it's hot, it really gets hot. I almost don't want to touch it. Then phone connection with Apple CarPlay in this case here. Also wireless is possible. Here's the integration. Yeah, doesn't go wider. That's with the map then. Soon also testing a sound system. Here you also have sound settings here for the Bose sound system. For example, more surround sound or something. And what's always cool is this car menu, because you can, for example, open the spoiler. I've done that earlier. Put, more exhaust sound in there. This automatically happens, for example, also when you put it to the sports mode. Here at the steering wheel, brum, brum, brum. Or then again, you know, with a separate button here in the middle console. And also here with a nice Targa visualization. Now the instruments, again, middle part analog, but just a digital speed. Right side here, you can pick the different driving modes or have the visualization for the different driving modes when you turn them at the steering wheel. And there's also here all-wheel drive distribution. We can talk about that when we drive the car. You will see rear-wheel bias then. And when we really hammer the throttle, then it more goes equal to get more power to the ground. And here the map integration is, of course, very helpful then when you have a GPS route set. So, and then on the left side, you can have assistance system information, for example. There's, again, another speedometer. So not too much to change right here. It's more than about the right side. But overall, I mean, it's quite nice, these gauges overall, if you couldn't see them all. Oh, and can't miss this analog clock in the top of the cockpit. Always nice to watch it and gives you maybe some serenity. Tick, tack, tick, tack. And then there's this weird passenger cup holder, which is always a little bit, weird, as I said. But at least it gets cooled then also from this air vent. And this vehicle is also equipped with the optional Bose sound system. Let's have a sound test, and I also closed the roof for that just for comparison purposes with other vehicles. Yeah, I think it's nice, and the typical from Bose that we always have a little bass-heavy sound. So if you like it, or I mean, if you don't like it that much, then you can also tune the bass a little bit down, but definitely also nice surround sound. And later on while driving, we can also turn it up while driving, why not? And Porsche promises us that the sensor would actually block the roof from opening. For example, in this case, to touch that flower. Let's see. There it is. See, it started, and then the sensor actually realized it. And here, says here, obstructions in swiveling area, restart movement. So the flower is safe, and our hardtop as well. And this, of course, more a case of, you know, when you're somewhere where you didn't see any, like a barrier or something, you didn't see it, and then actually your car is safe. So for the sole purpose of amusement and to enable comments like 906 Thomas in the back seat, I'll do it. So here you can put the seat forward, and you can see I cannot possibly fit in there when I have the driving position with 1.86 m or 6'1". You have ISOFIX here for child seat, that would work, and you can also fold down these seats to protect them, and then you can put a bag just on top of it, so that is actually possible. The only thing that would be conceivable is, you see here on the other side, I put the co-driver seat, and yes, I use co-driver seat, rally terms, always intentionally. Here I put the seat that way in the front that I could still sit on the passenger seat, and then I can actually try to get inside there. Let's try that. Let's go around. So we'll be able to fit at least, 3 adults here. Let's see. Put them up. And by the way, there's like a, very small storage there, but I'm not sure if I would use that really. So here we go. That's of course really tough here, and no. Yeah, one of the rare cars where it really doesn't work. It's not meant to work. It's also no problem here with the Targa, even harder to fit in here. So probably as for the rear compartment, the least practical 911. Closing the top here works with the middle console, and this should work with the roof above us. So you can see it once more in the live process here. Always spectacular to show off in front of the restaurant or something. And then in the front here with the headroom with 1.86 m or 6'1", this is no problem. Plenty of headroom left. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Porsche 911 Targa. And what is this car for? It has a lot of power, yes, definitely. We'll also show you an acceleration, but this car is more for pleasure, enjoyment in a sporty way, yes, but of course open top. And it's a car where you say like, I'm a gentleman, I don't need to exceed the speed just to feel cool. And however, we can still use the sports mode to have a little bit more exhaust note, for example. That's really cool. And of course, instantaneous acceleration always when you want it, even if you don't need it, so to say. And of course, it's a cool experience here. What's a little bit strange is then when we opened it, the Targa roof, there was still like a gap here in the window, and then usually you would just hold a button, for example, also with the convertible, and then the windows go all the way up. But that didn't happen, so I had to then put the windows up here with the normal window levers, the last step. That's a little bit complicated, I think. Also, another drawback of the Targa roof is you have to be standing still to operate this heavy glass roof, of course. With a convertible, of course, you can then just drive up to 50 kilometers an hour, and that's definitely way easier. So we got some nice corners ahead still, and this car has such a precise steering. This is, to me, the best about this vehicle, definitely. Sound is quite nice also, but the sound has never been like the strength of the 911. These flat engines, they are pretty reliable, but they are not like best sounding or so. It hasn't been like a roaring Focus or so. Here at slower speeds, of course, you don't feel any wind resistance difference between the Targa and the convertible. This will more be applied to higher speed, but we can also test that. And again, this new wind deflector here, I can really feel that here. Even at slower speeds, you feel how the wind affects that. So this is definitely a very interesting thing. And when we drive a little bit faster, then we can also put it in this second position we shown you earlier to see what the difference is there, actually. So really looking forward to that. So we're also going to a road where we can drive a little bit faster. And the suspension here is of course set on a very sporty note. So it's always that you feel when there's some bumps in the road, it can get really, really rough. However, then when it's plain, then you have the great sporty feeling. So it's always the question then what you need, what you want, and so on. Just have to be aware of that. Comfort-wise, you can get it a little bit better if you stick with the smaller wheels, for example. So that would be maybe an advice to stick then with the non-S model. The non-S model also has definitely way than enough power. So we'll just turn it around here, see also how the car can be handled, turning circle-wise and so on. Steering is not too hard. Then there's the rear view camera. The resolution could be a little bit better, right? Yeah, Jonas agrees. So for such a very expensive vehicle, resolution should be better from the rear view camera. And by the way, we can also then start it from 0. There's no one around here, and just Sport Plus. And the interesting thing is here, like this. That was 0 to 60 kilometers, just like instantaneously. Not allowed to drive faster, even though it wouldn't hurt anyone. Of course, we always stick to the rules. There was a launch control. Just put it to like Sports Plus mode, hit the brakes, hit the throttle, got the launch control running. So here with the Porsche, it's probably the easiest thing to do a launch control. Yeah, a lot of fun, of course. Always think about your passengers. Jonas really he has iron stomach Jonas. Sometimes I call him that way because, I mean, we've been to so many racetracks all over the world, and he's like, oh, okay, it's quite fun. When I would be in his position, I was like, whoa, whoa, all over the place. So yeah, that's up to Jonas for enduring that. Now 50 kilometers now to 100. Let's see. Then safety first, motorcyclist. Now. Plop, that's it. Wow, such a good acceleration. And now we feel the Targa disadvantage. 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, and it's really loud in here. A lot of wind noise. You can probably also pick it up on the microphone. And this is not such a high speed, you know. The car convertible would handle it better. Now, let's check out this new deflector. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not sure if you can pick that up on camera microphone, but it is louder now from this deflector in the front on the one hand, but the wind turbulence above the head, let's see again, changing. Interesting. So what it does change is without in a lower position, you have like this more wobbling sound. There's a bigger wind turbulence, and then when you put it actually then to the other stage, to the higher stage, this is reduced, but then you have a more, I would call it a high frequent wind sound from the upper part. I know this from this air cap system by Mercedes. I don't know, what do you think?
It gets a little bit brighter. The sound is getting higher frequency sound, yeah.
Yeah, higher frequency sound. It's it's a different wind noise, but it's still a wind noise, you know. Interesting that they added something there. Still not I would say wow, best feature ever, you know. And here now at 80 kilometers an hour, it's definitely better, you know. So this, but you know, with the convertible you can easily drive 100 kilometers an hour on 60 miles an hour on the motorway. So here again I have to say, Targa is limited in its capabilities at some point, you know. It's more like countryside road, 70 kilometers an hour, you know, 40, 45 miles an hour. That's cool with the Targa then as well. Or maybe inside the city, going to a restaurant or so on, and then you're able to open the top. But probably then the Targa will be driven more closed than open. Whereas the convertible, at least for me, you know, I'm a convertible fan, and I always drive convertibles more open than closed. There are hardly any situations where I would drive a convertible really closed, you know. So yeah, but definitely very interesting to experience that. But Porsche did realize this problem, therefore they have added this new feature right there. Yeah, but definitely interesting. So the performance, of course, once again very cool. It's raining just a little bit, not sure where that is even coming from. But you know, with open top vehicles, when it's raining, you're just not driving fast enough. You just have to drive fast enough that you push the rain in front of you. And I hope I will stay right for this one. So far it's quite cool, you know. So once again, you think you are safer with the Targa, well, maybe for overrolling, but the modern convertibles also have roll bars that pop out, so you're also safe with that. The only thing where you're not safe is when like a tree branch falls onto the road and it hits you on the head or so. And of course you're safe in a coupe in a way, but yeah, depending on how heavy the tree is, the coupe also won't protect you. Here now, 80 kilometers an hour, yeah, like I said, 45 miles an hour or something. That's still okay, yeah, that's bearable. But still there are more wind noise than from the convertible. However, the agility of this car is really superb. Every single lane change is so much fun. You can easily take this one out to a racetrack, even though when it's not like a super turbo S thing or something. So that's no problem at all. And then every low speeds feel like the car is like bored, you know? So the car says like, come on, Thomas, I can be driven way faster. What are you doing? Well, you know? So therefore you also have to watch out, you know, speed cameras and so on and so on. Fuel economy, by the way, is very, very bad. So even though when you don't do acceleration tests, when you just cruise this vehicle, at least 12 liters and 100 kilometers, if not more, and that's more like in this 20 mpg region, can be a little bit less than 20 mpg. So it's a sports car, yes, but it's, you know, should meanwhile be a little bit better, shouldn't it? Yeah. You can always argue that people buying this car won't care, but more and more people, of course, also care about fuel economy, even in this car. And even if you would just say, like, I don't want to go visit the fuel station that often, of course, at some point it also does matter. The gauges here, by the way, are very interesting as well, because you can also, you know, not only see the different driving modes, you can also check the all-wheel drive gauge, and there we can see most of the time we have rear-wheel drive and just maybe a little torque at the front. And the more I hammer the throttle, the more it goes to the front wheels. And when we would have seen it, for example, during the launch control, then you would have almost seen like a 50-50 distribution, because it doesn't paint tire on the ground when we do a launch control. You know, it really gets all the grip in a very controlled way to the ground. That's what the launch control is actually for. Here now, cruising at slower speeds, that's where the Targa really feels at home. You know, people looking, hey, what a cool car, nice color, contrasting. Oh, that's also nice Alpha convertible. You know, like the silver Targa bar then, and you can just enjoy life. The Targa is really, to me, more a design object. And the very interesting thing is also that the residual values for a 911 Targa are always the most stable from the whole 911 range. That's also a very interesting thing, because it's always a little bit more rare, it's special, it has something unique, but it's just a design thing, it's nothing logical. Because, yeah, I really have to say, from a factual, logical standpoint, indeed I have to say that the Targa doesn't make sense. You know, you want to drive open top with the best wind features and so on, most enjoyment, take the convertible. If you don't care about open top driving, then you would take the coupe. The Targa, once again, doesn't drive too different to the other 911 versions, definitely, but the Targa, to me, such a beautiful design object, but driving-wise, from the different features, it doesn't really justify it on the logical sense, you know. But that's nothing where Porsche was always good at. It's of course more about emotion. And close top acceleration, let's put to Sports Plus. Hey, and then 50 kilometers an hour to 100. Let's go. It wasn't even shifting. Yeah. okay, you know, I really, really love the 718, and I would prefer it over the 911. This is something where the bigger engine definitely plays a role, but you know, the 718 also available again with the bigger engine. But I mean, yeah, situations like these, the additional horsepower, of course, definitely helps. So Sport Plus mode here, by the way, also shifting down with this throttle blip, really cool. Double clutching here now in the next roundabout. This is a lot of fun, you know, just some roundabouts and you still have a lot of fun then just in your everyday driving life. And driving a little bit with the closed top, what is remarkable is that you have a lot of headroom. We shown it earlier, and it's really also a conceived difference then to the convertible and to the coupe driving, because you have literally a little bit more space above your head, so it's more open and more, you know, traveling experience. We feel that here when driving with the closed top. So also has a special, unique character indeed. So, and of course it's way more silent than with the open top. That's just natural. And even at higher speeds, the difference is then not that huge to the coupe, only if it would be like really, really, really very high speeds. That's the same nowadays with the convertibles. So the differences between the hard tops and the soft tops, not too much anymore. Of course, when this one is all closed, there's also like a very good wind flow over the car. Of course, it has been thoroughly tested in the wind tunnel as well. In general, once again, here a nice, crisp, direct steering feeling. That's one of the best things, definitely. When we talk about noise insulation, it's also good at higher speeds. But then again, we feel in this 911 generation that they have to fix some things as for like rattling noise and stuff. Because, for example, the steering wheel in one of the earlier cars we had, there was the, like, you could squeeze this part. This has been fixed now, by the way, so you see they do realize these things. But in the most recent convertible drive, also like something from the, you know, left behind my ear, like, you know, from the rear part there needs to be some part that is shaking or something. So you do get some noises from there. So and to be honest, I would not expect that in a 911. The suspension, by the way, here the PASM adaptive suspension, but here then also with the 21-inch wheels in the front, 20-inch wheels in the front, 21-inch wheels in the rear. It's of course very cool if you like cruising and stuff, but then again, it can be quite rough at times when you running over bumps or so. Sports mode, of course, always nice. Here then with the exhaust sound that automatically gets activated in the sports mode. And such a pleasant ride once again. So here left and right, again so precise this steering. So this is one of the things where you really feel one with the vehicle. Then that's also the, you know, probably the reason you buy the Porsche for. So the Targa has always been about this mix of enjoyable experience, closed and also open. And yeah, I mean, I can definitely confirm that once again. You are somehow more flexible in the one hand. Some say the Targa combines the best of both worlds. Some say it combines the disadvantages of the coupe and the convertible. You can argue both ways, and it will be true in any case. To me, it's really more about the styling. The convertible will also be a great ride when it's closed. So yeah, it's more like a philosophy decision, I would say. And now to our conclusion for today with the new Porsche 911 Targa. From the exterior, you can actually say it's one of the most beautiful 911s, if not the most beautiful. I also think it works very well with the contrasting Targa bar, especially when you have a color like this. And of course, the 911 always with this very, wrapped tight design, has been the same case throughout the ages. The Targa definitely is a great design object. And also showing, for example, with very good residual values. From the interior styling is also a very, sporty one with the instrument view. Yeah, a little bit blocked, some flaw as for that. Then, of course, a lot of animal skin use here too. Just barely some alternatives there in the model lineup. So that's better with the 718 or with the Taycan actually. The comfort is also not the best. It is more a GT car, but for a GT car, I think it should also be a little bit more comfortable seating position-wise. The suspension, especially when you pick the 20-inch wheels front, 21-inch wheels rear, which is standard for the S model, is still a little bit stiff, so it is definitely more a sports car. Although you might expect more comfort in comparison, for example, to the 718, the suspension really tells you, give me a good road, and then I give you a lot of driving fun, and not the best comfort. Well, and it is actually a lot about the performance still. The engine, no doubt, you always have a lot of performance. It's always there, no matter at which speed. And of course, the very crisp and precise steering. This is so much fun with the 911. And they could increase this sportiness here even further with this new generation. Of course, also the rear axle steering helps. Also the PDCC, for example, the anti-roll control. So especially rear axle steering makes the car feel even a little bit smaller, better in a turning circle, so it's easy to ease the car around actually. Talking about the Targa and the wind features, if you decide between a Targa and a convertible, do yourself a favor and pick the convertible, because when you're an open top driver, you will have more fun with the convertible. They did increase it here a little bit, with this new small wind deflector. This is reducing this low frequency wind noises and more puts them to high frequency wind noises in the front. This does improve a little bit, but still the convertible will have the big advantage. So, open top driver, get the convertible. This is more if you decide between the coupe and the Targa and just find the Targa more beautiful. Yeah, fuel economy wise, by the way, I could drop it down to about 11 liters on 1 kilometers, so that's a little bit more than 20 mpg then, and like 25 mpg for the UK figures mpg. So yeah, should also be a little bit lower actually. Still, very interesting impressions here. We also tried to mix it up a little bit, open and close driving in the driving part. I think we have a lot of fun today, together with this beautiful design object. Comes with a catch, but also comes with a lot of emotion. That's, what the Targa has always been. Like you see it here. Which one would you take home? This or this? Yeah, this actually should be half the price approximately, as it is here right now, as the 4S, at least 145k, and with some more extras, 160, 170,000 euros. Yeah, that's what you have to pay for the new one. What do you think? Please leave us your feedback in the comments. Let's discuss the 911 Targa. Please also tune into other episodes. We have different 911 episodes, coupe, convertible, 911 Turbo S. We see you there, or next time our full review. Bye and thank you.